Ahoy Captains, it's Vaz again with another video from World of Warships Legends. And in today's video, we are playing the Tier 5 light Japanese cruiser, the Gokaze, or the Go Crazy as I like to call it. Or if you really want to go all in, you say Go Crazy. So unfortunately we botched our capture from the PS5. I thought that 15 minutes would be fine, but I don't know exactly what happened, but I think I didn't put a long enough capture on it. Lesson learned, kids. Always choose the 30-minute option. So we missed the first minute of the match, but it was basically just us getting into position. Too big of a deal, but we did get smacked around a little bit. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. Nobody saw anything. Anyways, this is our very first match in the Gokaze. We did pull it from an early access crate, and although I did also pull the tier 4, we were able to skip over grinding it, thank god. Now we also happen to be playing in a division this match. Shout out to my div mates for carrying me a little bit there. Limo Kriv as Captain Joe K and B-Log55. This match is in a game of domination on the map straight. And we are top tier. We're up against tier 4s and 5s. And lastly, we have carriers in this match. And you can ignore everything you hear or see about carriers in this match. And that's because this capture is obviously from before the massive rework. And this recording is actually a few days before the massive rework is going to happen. Today's Friday. Monday is going to be a big old change. And all the carrier players are whining about it. This means you're actually going to have some skill to play carriers now. Wow, wow. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Gokaze. Admiral Kriv was in the DD, and he's up against a gallant there in the middle cap, who has probably the best fleet call sign in history, by the way. Like, the guy that made that fleet was the first dude to create a fleet, I guarantee you. The thing about the Gokaze is that it's got super floaty shells. It's only got 152mm guns. And that makes hitting destroyers at range extremely difficult. Especially in this match when it's our first time taking this ship out. You know, it takes a little bit of getting used to, that's for sure. Now, one thing I'd like to do in this match as we move along and march towards our Kraken, not a good start, however, but what I'd like to do is compare this ship to its sister tech tree counterpart, the Aoba. So let's run through some stats here. Of course, the biggest difference is going to be that the Gokaze only has 152mm guns, while the Aoba has 203s. So don't sleep on that AP when you're using the Aoba. Just a little pro tip for you, of course. Japanese HE is going to be always really good and good at fire starting. But don't be afraid to use the AP on the Aoba. Now, the Gokaze does have more guns. It has 8 compared to the Oba's 6. So what all that adds up to is that even though that the Gokaze's HE shells have lower damage, overall its HE DPM is going to be better due to it having more guns. Well, the Gokaze does have terrible AP. You'd probably only want to use it against similar cruisers, probably only itself and other lightly armored cruisers. Here's an example of what the HE can do against destroyers. Your HE just absolutely obliterates them, especially when they are within a decent range of you. And that Mitsuki is not long for this world. That ends up being our first kill of the match. Now we have a Byron, a little bit too close for comfort. Luckily, there's a juicier target between him and us. He's going to take out our destroyer buddy there, but we actually set a fire to him right before he takes I think he took a torp there. Not sure, just he went off screen for a second. But that fire is sticking, and it's gonna tick away, and eventually he's gonna fight it. He's not going down without a fight, but it is gonna tick away, and that's gonna be our second kill of the match. Speaking of hit points, the Gokaze has quite a few less hit points than the Aoba. 3,600 to be exact. That is quite a big difference. So Aoba definitely wins out for survivability there. Now the Gokaze's small guns only have a 9-second reload, but the Aoba's is 10.5. So the 9-second reload for the Gokaze is quite high for its caliber, actually. So if you do get a chance to use inspirations to work on that reload, you're definitely going to want to. Now the range is about the same, but it does have much faster turrets. And it does have a decent fire chance per minute, and that's also better than the Elbas. Now, coming up here, normally it would be a very bad idea to go full broadside to a Congo in West Virginia, but we're using our low tier knowledge here to our advantage, and we're also using our ingenious skill to make sure that we're not targeted. And that kind of allows us to, you know, just be out in the open, knowing that these guys have, between a 20-second and 30-second reload. We use that knowledge to our advantage too, and we can get away with being spotted broadside there. Put some torps into the gap to make sure that those guys don't push into the cap, and that'll allow Admiral Kriv to secure C for us after he's already secured B. And once we eliminate these two battleships, we'll have full control of this side of the map. We do also have a fire going on the Congo. And just like his Baron buddy before him, he's going to tick away and he's going to succumb to our fire. And that'll be our third kill of the match. Speaking of the torpedoes, at higher tiers, they have turning torps, which means firing angles on them are much better. You don't have to turn as flat broadside or be in a kiting position to fire them, like the heavy IGN cruiser line. Although the Gokaze doesn't seem to have those turning torps, so you do need to be fairly flat. But the torp angles are a lot better than other ships, I find. Now, the Gokaze's torp range is the highest at Tier 5 of cruisers, at 13 kilometers compared to the Aoba's 10 kilometers, so that's helpful. It also has the highest torpedo damage at Tier 5 for cruisers at over 17,000, which is 1,000 more than the Aoba. Now, they do have a downside to them. They do have the highest torp detectability at 1.6 kilometers, which is just a smidge higher than the Aoba. And they go about the same speed, but the Gokaze's reload is only 90 seconds, whereas the Aoba's is pretty bad at 102. Now the Gokaze, it's also the fastest cruiser at the tier. It does have decent concealment, which is better than the Aoba's, but it's got a really bad rudder, whereas the Aoba's is one of the best. And its turning circle is actually really bad too, whereas the Aoba's is not that bad. So quite a interesting mishmash of strengths and weaknesses on the Gokaze. Definitely has some things going for it. At first, I wasn't a big fan of the slow reload on the guns, especially considering how puny they are. But I've been grinding this ship, and the more I play it, the more I like it. It's growing on me. Now, as we approach our next target here, and we're spotted by the carrier, which not sure if that's going to be a thing next week, but we'll see. Just wanted to mention that I'm kind of struggling with a bit of a cough, but I think we've done an okay job not coughing into the microphone this recording. I got a cup of tea beside me this recording instead of my usual cup of whiskey or glass of whiskey. Sometimes it's a cup, like a really big cup. And the other thing is that I think this is only my second, maybe third recording on my new laptop, and I had to re-download Audacity, and I don't know if it's their update or something with my settings didn't get carried over. So there's a bit of there's some oddities with the microphone recording. Sometimes the audio doesn't get picked up for some reason. So bear with me while I figure that out. And apologies if there are any gaps in the commentary. Okay, so in the background there, we had gotten our fourth kill against the Leander. We just stuck with HE because we're in a trailing position. He looked like he was just kind of kiting us. And the HE was getting the decent hits on him, so we didn't experiment with the AP. Not while we're going for a Kraken. And the accuracy there was really impressive, to be honest with you, at that range, anyways. Considering that the shells on this thing are so bloody floaty. It's one of the things I don't like about uh, low caliber gun cruisers. Those floaty shells just they don't do it for me. I like the laser beams like you have on the Russian cruisers. Now here we have the carrier spotted. What could be more perfect when you're on 4 kills, right? It's like coming home and finding your wife dressed in lingerie, and you're just thinking to yourself, "Oh, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but hot damn, I ain't complaining." Well, I guess it depends on how old your wife is and what you think about her. But enough about that. Ranger was bow on to us, so we're obviously just sticking with HE. And shockingly, we got a couple citadels with HE. That's pretty awesome. We put some torps out just because, and now we just basically cross our fingers and hope that one of our teammates doesn't pinch this kill from us. He's trying to defend himself, but he's probably not used to our speed. Look at we're up over 40 knots here. That's pretty wild for a tier 5 cruiser. And there you go, Kraken unleashed in our first game in the Gokaze. Not a bad little boat, to be honest with you. And we're actually shooting down some planes. You know, like I alluded to before, the AA is not so terrible on this ship. You know, the rating for it is pretty bad, but I don't know, for whatever reason, it can't actually shoot down planes. As you go up this line, actually, the AA gets to be quite good. The Shimanto and the Takahashi, their AA is actually really good. And that's a far cry from ships like Miyoko and Megami on the main IJN lines. Their AA is terrible. Well, now that that's over and done with, we're going to head down to Charlie Cap and see if we can get it. And we are spotted. So perhaps the destroyer's around here somewhere. And oh, there's the torpedoes, those stealthy little buggers. And he almost completely nukes us there. It's a Monahan. And I didn't know this about the Monahan until I researched this for this video. It has a torpedo upgrade. And it adds a whole bunch of damage to its torps. And now with 100 health left, we're slim pickings for him. We try and get some shells on him, and we got a hit on him, but yeah, 100 hit points. He's gonna take us out. And so that's it for us this match. It's not gonna be much longer, and so while we wait for it to end, we're actually gonna take this time to get our commander up on the screen. We're using our good old cruiser buddy Gunichi Makawa, right? That's how you say his first name. And that's because we don't have one of the 17 anime commanders that are in this game. So we use the good old free-to-play guy. And we use our standard agility build using Ingenious to help with the turret traverse, and full speed ahead, sponge, steer clear, and fully packed. You know, in the third slot, you might want to experiment with Velocious. But I don't know. I like Sponge. It definitely kept us alive at the end there. That Torp would have completely obliterated us had we not had Sponge. So, I don't know. I find it comes in handy. Helps with your armament hit points. I feel like your turrets and your Torp tubes get knocked out a lot less. I mean, in this ship anyways, you're already pretty damn fast, so what's the point of even going that much faster? So there you go. B-Log and Kriv secured the win for us. And we ended that match with over 81,000 in damage and the 5 sinkings for our Kraken. Captain Joe K, Mr. Kriv, top of the leaderboard. And again, if you can, pause the video and take a look at that enemy gallant's fleet call sign. It's a little bit funny to me. Well guys, if you did like that video, hit that thumbs up button. If you want to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. Feel free to leave a comment down below. And as always, take care of yourselves and do what makes you happy.